We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Okay, Mayor Westgard.
Yep.
Voltman.
Yes.
Cleveland.
Here.
Reese.
Here.
Stanky.
Here.
Councilor Huss is absent.
Okay, consent agenda. Any additions, corrections, updates?
No
Not-
changes.
We need a motion to approve.
So move.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Voltman.
Yes.
Stanky.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Okay, Dave, you wanna give us an update on this landfill?
Okay, I kind of brought this up, a while back, that we were thinking about turning the landfill into a transfer station. And just to summarize that up, and I'm just going to summarize everything up. Transfer station means that we're still going to take garbage and everything as usual, but we would take it to another landfill. Okay, there'd be shipping to another landfill. Okay, our landfill part would be sealed off and closed, like you have to do each sale. Each sale is closed off, and it costs a few $100,000 to close a sale and a few $100,000 to open up a new sale. The life expectancy of our landfill, I think, was 22 or 24, I don't remember that. But that's coming up in 16 or so years. Again, I kind of fuzzy on that detail. So we looked at the expenses of our landfill. We haven't had a price increase in tipping fees or per capita fees for quite a while. And we have our current cell that we have is going to have to be closed and a new cell to open. Okay, and we looked at doing that versus a transfer station, and we had 2 engineers working on it from 2 different companies. They both looked at the situation, and our last meeting they both said, why open up a new cell? Why not put that money towards a transfer station if that's your ultimate goal? Okay, so after lots of discussion, we decided that we would do the transfer station. We would close our current cell, and because all this has to be done by next August. I believe it was next August. We have about a year and a half to build a transfer station or open up a new cell. Opening up a new cell is going to cost around $300,000 roughly. Building a transfer station, a building, is going to be around $450,000, just depending on what type of transfer station we decide on. We got a committee looking at that. There's cost savings to the people that use the landfill and to the citizens of Sac County. A few of those I wrote down: money saved on opening a new cell and using that money for helping close the current cell. And then we have a fund for closing cells. We just use that money to build this building for the transfer station. There's a huge reduction in the future purchases and repairs of equipment, bulldozers and things like that, that if we kept on opening up new cells, we're going to have new ones of those because they are not in good shape. Plus, there's the cost of future land purchases to keep building new cells. So there's a lot of money out there that we would save by opening up transfer station. Right now, tipping fees are $38 a ton, and I believe that the per capita costs are $20 per, I believe it's household.
Per capita.
Per capita, yeah. So they would go up to $43 per ton and $27 per capita the first year. And then after that, they would level off. And then, so will our costs out there. We would still do recycling. In fact, we just heard a proposal at our last meeting that we would increase our recycling to encompass refrigerators, appliances, and things like that. So we'd still do that, and we'd still be taking, I mean, the average homeowner, you're not going to see any difference in what your garbage is right now, except, you know, just like anything else, it's going to cost, the rates have to go up. They have to go up regardless of which way we go. So we decided to do the transfer station now with the idea, recommendation from the two engineers that were there, because it's going to save the people of Sac County money in the long run.
What is, are they looking at Carroll or Storm Lake, or what are they talking?
It'll actually go out for bids. It'll more than likely go down to Carroll because they're a regional landfill.
Yeah.
It's kind of the wave of the future. The DNR would love to see regional landfills instead of a landfill in every county. The state of Missouri has 14 landfills in the whole state. So every state is going to regional landfills. We just don't have enough room to be a regional landfill. Evidently Carroll does, around Fort Dodge they do. So Cherokee is a regional landfill. BV already ships to Cherokee.
So if you get too high with your monthly rates, and you'll see your ditches fill up there.
Well, you know, again, Terry, it's you know, we either raise them the same rate we are now for either opening up a new sale or
I think we had that problem.
The transfer.
years ago.
How many loads, like, I'm just curious, how many loads would that take every day down there? Do they just have any idea?
I have no idea. One of the issues we had with the current sale we're at right now, we thought it was going to last into next summer, but there's been a lot of houses torn down, so we have all those houses coming into the landfill and filling it up pretty quickly. And then there's future plans of more houses being torn down, so that's one of the issues that we were looking at. So
Can't burn any of that stuff either, can you?
no.
That's what's bad about it is.
Yeah.
You know,
And with the closure of all those cells, and there's still monitoring and stuff that has to be done. So the two employees out there are going to stay. They're going to do more of the recycling and stuff like that. So, and that all now still goes to Carroll. So,
I think the neatest thing, I see, we go to Oskaloosa, is Pleasant Hill down there. They grind out everything, and it's in a windrow, and then they haul it to their landfill. They chop that, it's just into smithereens. I mean, it's just, this is probably 25 pieces, you know, when they're done. You know, it's just, you know, it's just in a big windrow, and then they haul it out to the landfill, you know, to cover it up, you know.
Sure.
And I think that would save a lot of space. You know.
yeah, and in the meantime, if we'll probably have to close our current sale right now. They should have the engineer was going to check and see how high we could go up on the existing sales, if we could go up higher into airspace, into A, B, C, and D, or A, B, and C, to see if that'll give us more time so we could build that building for the transfer station and so forth.
So the transfer station actually works how? So the hauler is going to haul out there, dump on site,
Dump on site.
that gets reloaded into
Another truck
another semi, I would
of
assume,
some
right?
sort and goes down to.
And then is that privately hauled, say, to Carroll, or is it, you hire a private
That'll be
contractor?
privately hauled.
So like Rudd, you just haul to Carroll then and done.
Not directly. It'll still be, the landfill is still going to operate like a landfill. okay, except we're not gonna fill the land. We're gonna fill somebody else's land.
You're gonna
You're gonna
separate
transfer.
stuff
Yeah,
then,
it seems like that'd save a lot of money.
tires and.
He's
You know,
got the
there's-
expense, you know.
There's so many details and stuff that we have to work through and stuff as far as a transfer station, you know, and the design and, you know, the details like
Well,
that.
How big a building would that roughly be then? would you
Have
say?
no idea yet.
Don't have any, okay.
So does this transfer, does it occur inside? In a
Ye-
building?
Yes, it's an enclosed building evidently. So. It's about a $450,000 guesstimate on the building.
Mhm.
So, but again, we haven't gotten that far and we just voted to pursue the transfer station versus opening up a new cell. And that's as far as we got, and the engineers are working on the rest and come back to the board. Which reminds me, the next meeting is on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And because of Thanksgiving on Thursday, I have class on Tuesday, so if you.
Yeah, what day is it?
I think it's the last Tuesday of the month.
Okay. I can do that.
So, any other questions?
Be interested to see what the bids from the other places are coming from, you know?
Yeah.
What kind of competition, because like I said, Storm Lake's the same as
I
Carroll's.
think, well,
Yeah.
Cherokee does well too, don't
I
they?
think the Storm Lake don't do
Yeah.
nothing anymore, it all goes Cherokee for
All
them.
Yeah.
goes oh, okay.
Yeah.
All of Storm Lake is just a transfer station.
Oh, okay.
And it all goes to Cherokee.
They built a shed for recycling up there, didn't they? Is that?
In Cherokee?
No, the sack like that.
Yeah, they still have that, and that'll still be there, and it'll be, in fact, that's gonna be expanded. Like I said, we're gonna do appliances, you know, break them down and stuff, and, there'll be some, little bit of income there, and, but the trash will come into the landfill just as usual, be dumped and then transferred out.
But they talked about when they're gonna raise their tipping fees by chance?
Yeah, they did, let me look. Somewhere I had that.
We got what, we're in the first year of a 3-year deal with Red, is that right?
Well, I'd have to refresh my memory.
You know, Rudd's still gonna be in business and do the pickup for the cities and stuff, and, none of that's gonna change.
I'm just gonna say, but it will change for them if the
Well, as
tipping-
far as the
tipping fee
cost,
goes,
yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm going at.
In just the past practices, when they'd have an increase in tipping fees, I'm sure Rudd will be back to see us. And they come
Yeah.
ask for more money.
What was your question again? I forgot.
Timeline for the
Oh,
change in
timeline.
the tipping
Jeez.
fees,
I didn't write that down,
Okay.
or the,
but I think that it might be, starting first of the year.
Sooner rather than later.
that'd be my
Yeah,
question
it
too
has
on
to
the,
be. It absolutely has to be, you know, no matter
Yeah.
which way we went.
No, I just,
same thing on the per capita fee then.
Right.
Just that,
So we could,
we just wanna be able to
that
budget
was,
for
so
it.
we can, talk about it at budget time and
right,
Yeah.
that's
get it into our
that's what I was
budget.
trying to,
Yeah, so
Yep.
that's a brief summary of
no, that's,
what,
it's coming down the pike, that's all we know.
I think it was headlines in the Sac Sun,
Yeah, he got.
Yeah,
he went
Dale
to-
was
he
there.
went to the meeting,
Yeah.
That's why.
yeah, he probably had a better report there than I did. Anyway,
Okay. Any more good news? We'll go on to Camp Crescent financial report.
Camp Crescent, that's always good news, huh? We're on,
Looked like it.
take a look on page 3. Just a couple things really that I want to point out, and then you can ask Ruth a lot of questions. But the biggest difference, and this is an anomaly, is the dollars coming in from camping. See that top line, $173,000. That's the actual amount of money that we receipted in this year from camping. Okay? camping, when we look at the stays on the next page, you'll see that camping's actually down 2% from the previous year. That the big increase in revenue is just from the way that we've handled credit card payments. Okay, so now we go directly to, through the credit card company instead of through our software company, and we receive payment right away when they make reservations. They're also making reservations for 15, for next year. So we've received the money for those reservations already. So that's why I say it's going to be an anomaly. It'll be a one-year anomaly. It'll be back down again next year. Okay, but it actually worked out really good for us because we paid for most of those capital projects right out of the budget. Then you see this year in the expense side of things, we spent $50,000 on Camp Crescent capital projects, and that is primarily that improvement project down there. So a lot of that's been able to be funded with cash.
You could charge mosquitoes, you know, to camp, why then we'd have it made.
How come our camping fees are so different? Or the reservation fees? How come they're $5,200 this year and we're only $2,400 last year?
Reservation fees?
Yeah, I don't know when we made that change, Ruth, but at one point I counted them as a negative revenue, that reservation fee. So I don't know if it was offset through the reduction in revenue. And then our auditor said we shouldn't be doing that, it should just be shown as an expense. So we made that change back.
Do they get credit toward their total bill?
What do you mean?
The reservation fee?
Yeah, the city just eats the reservation fee. It's not, it's built into the fee that's charged to them, but it's not a separate line item charge for it. Yeah. Okay. You see that we had additional revenues this year from the harvester revenues at $5,300. So total revenues, $208,000 would be, the highest that it's been of these 5 years that show here. Again, not that things were really that good, but this credit card thing gives it a good appearance. You see where we are on the expenses then on on Camp Crescent. Again, accounting for that $50,000, we're back down to the $79,000 range, which is pretty consistent then with what expenses have been for the past 2 years. Just taking a look at the beach, $2,257 was wages that was paid to the lifeguards until we ceased to have lifeguards, which was around the 4th of July. Wages in the parks, that's mainly Mike and Mike, and then Jamie during the summer, so that we will still have 2 months, excuse me, not 2 months. They work till the 15th of November, Mike and Mike do, and then they'd be done.
So they get unemployment then?
They do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought they were.
Any comments on that stuff, Ruth?
I can't make it look any better.
Yeah.
But I just want to show you on page 4.
I like the fact that even with all the mosquitoes and stuff, we still had, a lot of people still played mini golf.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was down, I mean,
It was
everything,
down, yeah.
the concession golf and everything was down.
I like the lights.
What,
I like the lights,
now?
yeah.
Aren't they pretty?
What is the capital projects?
Our graveyard we've got going down there.
Yeah, in the campground, it's those concrete pads and all of the dirt and the water sewer.
I'm gonna bring in some extra cash and sell cemetery plots down there.
There you go.
Yeah.
On the good side of things, though, things are finally coming together on that. Bill said he'd be done with electric tomorrow. Sewer's in. Is the sewer in or just the mains in?
Sewer is in.
Sewer's done. And Lon's been out farming the past couple of days, but Barry's been down there working on water again. So feeling pretty good about that. Here, at least within the next, I don't know, few days to a couple weeks, we'll be done with the installation of the infrastructure down there. Then it is, we still gotta haul in a bunch of gravel for the road. And then it's finished grading and seed everything.
How are we gonna do that road? I mean, there's a lot of water that comes down there.
He's got it.
How did, everything drains to that road. That, I think, was how
Yeah,
Lon had that.
it looked
figured
like
out.
it.
And like I say, we're putting in some, we're putting in,
You know
we're
what
putting
I'm
in some
talking about,
gravel.
Ruth?
The way he's got it figured out, it's all supposed to drain and
I'm supposed to use some rock or crushed rock or something like
Yeah.
that.
and then
Okay.
the culvert, that extra culvert that he put in down there. I don't know how it's all supposed to come out in the end. I have no
Right.
idea.
What is it? I was just wondering.
I do too.
Just goes to the lake though.
Yeah.
Well,
Which-
unless
Well, yeah,
it's
unless
coming
the-
back in from the lake.
Which looked like that was,
I know one thing.
when I was
he's
drowning
across
that
the
last night,
road,
I was camping down there.
across the road from, along the volleyball court there.
Mm-hmm.
He's digging that ditch all out,
Oh,
digging it deeper and going around to the lake so that it doesn't come back in the lake all the time.
oh, okay,
Because right now it's way too high and it can't drain out,
right, okay.
so.
If it can be fixed, Lon will fix it.
Again, on page 4, this is gonna show you, it's a breakout of how many people utilize what sites, but just in total. See that we had total number of nights reserved during 2014 of 7,174. And that's the lowest number from the recent years.
But we did not have that open area to
Mhm.
use this year. We had, even though the dollar amount was higher, they were in more expensive sites.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so,
So less work.
And-
Well, I mean,
But we got all of our sites, the sites that we eliminated and widened, those are gonna be some nice sites now,
Mm-hmm.
some really nice sites.
But this is pretty good for the lake being low till the 4th of July, scummy for a month.
And then
I'm surprised anybody
Yeah,
comes back
mosquitoes.
after
Mosquitoes were bad.
2 years before.
Well, I'm starting, well, like I said, we didn't have lifeguards ready for the 4th of July, and by that point in time, there were no swimmers by then already because of the lake.
right.
yeah,
And it only got worse after that,
right.
all that.
And then,
slime
and then when fishing starts picking up again, a lot, you know, not that it hasn't, but we'll probably get some additional campers there.
How did lifeguards work out for you?
Is that sarcastic?
They think so.
Sarcasm?
They didn't work out very well.
Lesson
Any-
learned.
No, that's too bad.
when you can find people that wanna work.
Yeah.
We'll give you a
I'll
call.
make them truck drivers.
And just-
Well, I
We
think that's a
pretty
general
much
story.
had a death in the
All over.
family today. Charlie lost his cell phone in the cornfield.
no,
Oh
no.
my gosh. For 3 hours, I was getting the phone going. We couldn't live without our phone.
Any questions on the report? One other,
How do you lose them? Corn?
But we did make 16,000.
yeah, you look at the bottom line, we're still up 16,000. There's a few more expenses to come, so, and it'll roughly square out again. If we go into each camping season with the goal that we would raise enough revenue from the campground to support all of our parks. And so we if you think about that, you know, our parks are not supported by property tax in that way.
So how are we doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Campground is still a asset.
Yes. And the mini golf really is.
How'd the boats work out this year?
Paddle boats?
They did until everything got slimy.
The
But,
dollar,
and you know, that's a Mother Nature thing, we can't control that.
Oh,
We
yeah,
had this-
after everybody left, then it was,
Yeah,
it's really nice.
it was, you could go out on that dock and it was just so nice and clear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But by that time, everybody was gone.
yep.
Everybody okay with the Camp Crescent?
Yep.
We'll move on to the bathhouse.
Now, one other thing on Camp Crescent, just to get a little input from the council on this, is the concept of, do we want people down there camping during the winter time? And you want to just talk about that a little bit, Ruth, and we got some construction
Well-
guys.
These construction guys that are working over the ethanol plant at Arthur, they're from way down south and all over. And they want to stay as long as they can. They have no place else to go, but they know there's no water. And they'll see to it they get their own water, so I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. They still pay half price.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
pay half
camping.
price.
they don't.
I just
probably
want to
won't
make sure
use
that we
very
talk
much
about this, because, there's some obligations on the city's behalf, to mainly be able to provide emergency services to them, and the other big thing is to provide them a way in and out. And we do not plow snow down there, or at least we haven't. And, do we want to have to maintain that, especially plow snow, to such an extent, again, that you feel comfortable providing emergency service to it?
Can you make them all go together right by the entrance so that we wouldn't have to go very far if we did?
Yeah,
How many is there?
right now there's one.
Oh,
The others all left.
oh, they did? Oh.
They left, one left yesterday.
I think there was 4 the other day. when
Yeah.
I went by.
One left and we were pleased with that because he was over on the rocks and we thought, well, if he stays later, it won't be a big problem. And then overnight, 2 more came in and I don't have a clue who they are or what they're doing or whatever. But I'm gonna catch them later. I'll catch them at the bar probably. I don't know who they are, I'm just gonna quit. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know,
The question is, does the council want to let them do it?
yeah.
I don't see where there'd be any problem,
I
as
can't
far
see
as
it, no.
them causing any problems.
And even to open snow, like, they don't need all they gotta do is get in and out. I'm sure they got equipment to, 4-wheel drive or whatever, it's-
Yeah, practically speaking, it can happen.
And
Just, do you want that responsibility, basically, is what I
the
would
thing
ask.
is they're not gonna be able to stay there forever. I mean, things are gonna start freezing up on them.
Yeah. They, and
And all of our bathrooms are winterized, right?
Yeah.
So
there
they
is
don't
no
have
water
place
down
to
there,
shower or
period.
anything.
And they know that. They know
So
that.
it's not like they're gonna be there for very long.
The one that's there said that he thought, and the reason I like to accommodate him a little bit is because a lot of them are coming back next summer.
Yeah.
And that is good revenue.
Mhm.
That's good revenue. But he said that he thought, they're running ahead of schedule, and they thought he'd be done by, in December.
could be nice, so, never know.
I don't know, I don't have a problem.
And who
with
knows,
that.
this will probably never happen again.
Yeah.
Until you have problems, why, I'd say go for it. I mean, if
It's
something
just that
comes
by the
up.
time you have problems, it's a little too late. But,
But I mean, as long as they understood that they're not gonna be on our priority list when it comes to moving snow.
And we're just providing the electricity, right? And then,
We're just providing the service for them.
yeah, that's the other side of things. They pay half price for the site, so they're paying
$11 a night.
$11.
Oh,
They get their electricity supplied
yeah.
during the winter time when that thing's gonna, I don't know how many dollars worth of electricity
That
it
doesn't
takes
heat
every
the
day.
camper. Propane has to heat the camper.
But it still takes a fan.
Sure.
unless you have an electric heater.
You just throw an electric heater in there because it's not on your dime.
Yeah.
It's kinda like, when you're paying for apartments and you pay the electric bill and they turn it up to 90.
But
It's
I
not
don't
gonna be
see
a problem
'em-
until you get somebody there that you really don't want.
Exactly.
right.
I still say.
Can we do,
Try it.
can we
Till
tell
run into a
them,
problem, then say,
you know, a month by month thing with them, I mean,
Well, like I
Yeah,
said,
just-
for
this
now,
may be the only
it's
winter it
okay.
happens. I
Yeah.
don't know, because, but if we did it again, Then if we could line them up on the road, the main road going up to the garage, and that way, if there had to be any snow plowed, just, you know, make a path through the parking lot and up that main road, and then they were on their own.
Well, they
But
have
it
to
probably may
scoop their
not
own
have-
snow to get to the road.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
oh, yeah.
like anybody else, but.
Well, why don't we just let them stay there till December 1st, then we'll take another look at it. That seem fair to everybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if we can just even say, you know, it's kind of the rule of being practical, that so long as it's not a problem,
Right.
you know, we'll see what we can
Yeah.
continue to
Yeah, because I think it's only
allow
gonna
it,
be,
but-
I mean, I haven't had the opportunity to talk to the other two. Maybe they're just in there for a few days, I have no idea. Because they went around today.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Happy there? Let's go to the bathhouse.
All right, let's take a look at the bathhouse. But I really wanted to talk this through a little bit with the council and make sure that everybody really has a good grasp of what the proposal is. And before we start to look at the plans, just again to note on page 6 of the packet, that's the cost estimate of it. $247,000 plus that contingency is $272,000. And this would be before any of the proposed changes that we would talk about. And again, that's not necessarily a real hard number. You see how he came up with those cost estimates just on a per square foot basis of each one of these types of portions of the building. So, anyway, let's just kind of walk through this packet here real quick. The page numbers are on the lower right, so we'll be on the second page which is page S201. In the upper left there, this is the foundation plan. Just in general, the foundation is a floating slab foundation. It's proposed to be a 16-inch thick mat foundation.
No footage.
Wow.
Yep. And
What about the woodchucks? Do they go under, I mean, they can get
I
under there
guess I
now.
don't know.
I don't think they probably would be too much traffic for people, I think.
With woodchucks?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
I hadn't thought about that.
well, they
What's
like
a
to
floating now?
just like this floor, just laying.
It doesn't have a footing below the frost line. But neither does the office down there. And, you know, that's just a slab. And Lon felt pretty good about this, actually. And the fact is, it's 16 inches thick. This is, it's
Put
quite a
rerod in it, why?
and it has rerod in it.
That's thick.
Then don't call me. It's gonna take something big.
Just taking a look at the general layout of it, again, looking at the kind of that left picture, it's basically broken into a north and a south side, with the north side being the men's side, the south side being the women's side. The entrance doors are right in the middle of the long side. So this showed those wing walls out there covering the doors, and we would actually then be changing those wing walls so it's not a wall anymore, it'd just be a fence. We'd actually be using some sort of like a Trex product in this fencing. So when we went through a bunch of these proposed changes, one of the big rules was we said we're going to do what we can to try to have very low maintenance, including no paint. So like any of the decking, any of this stuff is Trex decking, you know, and aluminum sidings and that type of stuff. So this does not propose to have any paint. Maybe I can't say any, but it's really minimal.
I don't paint, Nancy does.
Next page is A101. Yeah, there's a couple changes in that. Again, the upper left-hand picture. Between the men's room and the women's room, there is an 8-foot wide mechanical chase that runs the entire width of the building. This proposed to have a maintenance sink in it, and Ruth wanted that removed. And then we would change the door on the right side, which would be the east side of the building, to that mechanical chase, then becomes a big double door. And that way we're able to get large items in there for storage, especially during the off-season. One of the big changes that is proposed to this plan deals with floor drains. This had floor drains in all of the showers and in certain areas of of the open areas of the restrooms and in everything in the mechanical chase, we would propose to change the floor drain to become a trench drain. And that required quite a little bit of changing on behalf of the engineers. But that's what this one was that's on your, at your seat tonight then. This would propose then that we would install a trench drain. So the trench drain runs the entire length of the building. It's the darker gray line there. That would be the trench drain.
Does it completely empty out?
Yeah.
I mean, because that can be a stinky mess. You know?
Yeah, and it does. These are pre-made units that you actually just bring them in, assemble them, and the grade is already put into them. It's pre-made that way.
And they could be cleaned out pretty
Yes,
easy too.
they can be cleaned out pretty easy. But the concept here is that do what you can with the trench drain, and it allows for easy cleaning of the restrooms, just basically by hosing everything out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was proposed to be a big change. Now I haven't talked
So,
to Lon about this, but
Yeah.
because when we had talked this trench drain originally, it was basically abutting the interior wall, and this has it several feet out from the wall. With their explanation being these other little separating walls that they need to be structurally tied into that interior wall, and they couldn't do this with the trench drain in place. So that's from staff talking about it. Really good positive feedback about going to this trench drain idea.
Yeah, the reason I asked about that, if it empties out, because we had them out to WIE and you had to pull them grates off and clean them, you know, and that was a big job.
Mhm.
But we have to do that in the showers now, Terry.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Take all the great things off,
sure.
clean the hair and
Well,
everything.
I'm just saying that was a big job in them trims.
Yeah.
That's just on the women's side.
No, it's
No
not.
hair on the other side?
No, it's not. Either that or somebody's crossing the fence.
So the sink that you don't want in there, is that a floor sink? Was that a floor
It's a
sink?
mop
right?
sink.
Mop
We
sink?
don't use mops, we use the brushes and hoses. We don't need a mop sink in there. Just
Okay.
taking up space.
Well, now, in the summertime, are you gonna use that for like a bomb shelter too, in case tornado comes?
The building itself, we will tell people that it's a severe weather shelter. Okay, it is not a rated tornado shelter. Okay, the building itself is masonry made of split face block, but it just has a regular truss roof, and it's beefed up a little bit on the connections on how all the rafters are connected. But other than that, it's that's the main reason why we would call it our shelter.
You wanna
But
stand
plus
by
it's just
a
larger.
urinal just in case the roof goes, that you can have something to hang on to.
It'll be better than a camper.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It'd be the best thing that we have there. This is a little bit larger than our other bathhouses, and we would just encourage people to crowd into the restroom as much as possible.
Then
That'd be
they've
crowded.
used them, they've used the others for shelter all these years too.
Mhm.
Picture at the bottom of the page shows floor mount toilets. I think we made that change to go back to wall mount toilets. Again, largely due to this trench drain idea that you're
Can wash.
just washing everything out underneath it.
That makes sense. You don't have to wash behind it.
Yep. One of the big issues deals with airflow and what do we want to do about airflow through this. I'm still on A101, and it's at the right side of the page. That just shows the louvers, and this is only proposing some small size louvers at the base of the wall, and then at the top of the interior walls, and then louvers at the peak of the roofs. So, and then it proposes, and we'll get to this, a mechanical ventilation system. Just a couple comments again. Upper left-hand picture, where that's pointing to that siding and says it's cementous siding, and this would not be. It'd be aluminum siding. And Just in general, this referring to the blocks, pre-colored split-faced block, and that's, everything would be pre-colored. And again, no painting would be the idea. Lower left-hand talk, you see what they had initially proposed about that you need to have curbs on all of the showers and everything. And again, because it's trench drain, you're able to get rid of those things. Basically, the floor just drains to the trench drain. There is no need to contain water in any areas.
So then the blocks will be insulated? No?
Yep.
No.
Well, insulated, no. Filled, yes.
Filled.
They're all filled with concrete. They're all there is vertical supports in them, vertical re-rod through some of them, and then on every second course there's that horizontal reinforcing stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Lon described it more as just a zigzag piece of wire, but you put that in on every second course, and it gives the stability again.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on, the next page is a 301. Middle picture at the bottom shows these daylighting devices. It's proposed that on each side, men's and women's side of the restroom, that they would each have 2 of these daylighting devices. They're these big things that basically catch the sunlight and kind of amplify sunlight. So if we have this notion of energy efficiency during the days, you know, we would hope to not use too much lighting in that. We'd have these daylights. When the daylights aren't, you know, when it's not very light outside, the daylights aren't working properly. The lighting system itself is then fluorescent lighting, but it's based on occupancy sensors, and then it's also based on photocell. So it doesn't come on during the day just because somebody's in there. It's based on a photocell. That's made some note about the roof. You can see what the roof construction was, and it started off saying asphalt shingles. We have made a change to go to what would be the metal shingles. It's a metal shingle system, and we replaced all of the bathhouses with this metal shingle system after that last hailstorm. So this is, again, consistent with everything that's down there, but it is a lifetime metal shingle.
You ever try to collect on shingles?
Pardon me?
You ever try to collect on regular shingles?
Well, I mean, we did.
Usually you can't. I mean,
Well, I
you
suppose
call
we
the
did
company
10.
and they don't, you can't get nothing out of them.
Oh, we got some. I got some on my house too.
Did you?
We got a new roof at my house, actually.
I didn't get one. They wouldn't put one on mine.
Oh,
Too many
this was
trees.
my insurance company, though.
Yeah, insurance.
Oh, not the
This-
not the
yeah.
shingle
Too many
company.
trees held it away. Everything across the street got new roofs, but I didn't get it. And I couldn't, well, I didn't agree with him, because he was up there and give me a price, and so I took the ladder. I said, now let's talk.
Oh, you took the ladder.
I see where your problem is.
How to beat and influence people, huh?
So it did help.
Next page is M101. Just a couple comments on that. That's the mechanical plan. Upper left-hand corner shows the plumbing plan. Just a note there that we would propose that we would have PEX plumbing in the mechanical room. Okay, it's everything going through the wall is copper, but everything in the mechanical room is PEX, and it just has to do with ease of maintenance.
Easy to put in too.
Yep. Then just a comment about the bathroom stalls. The stalls and the doors would be made of this thick, solid plastic material, and then we would use a continuous bracket on that. So it's not like you have smaller brackets. It's a continuous bracket the entire way. Again, try and do what you can to head off any vandalism.
So this won't be heated in the winter though either?
No, it's shut down during the wintertime, just like we are now. All right, M201, here's the main question that I would ask of you. This shows one power vent. Has a power vent and this duct system that vents everything off the top of the walls. So there's these louvers in the exterior walls. Air comes in that way, but it's power vented out. This power vent would run between $6,000 and $8,000. I asked for a cost on that, and about $6,000 to $8,000. And I know there was some question about whether we thought that we needed this. As we talked more about it, the staff, camp staff, absolutely wants to have this power vent. The mayor was a little leery, but
Well, I think it makes more sense because it gets so hot and
gets so
steamy,
hot in
especially
there.
when
The
it's
humidity.
humid
And
outside.
especially when
It's
the
miserable.
building is designed the way it is. You aren't, even though there's vents on the bottom of the building, or in the walls, that air is not going to go through there. You go in the Speaker Park bathroom in the summertime, you will die in there if you stay in there very long. There is not air flowing through there, and be in a shower and try to get dressed.
You know, again, I think you also, and being a camper and going to other campgrounds and stuff and looking at their bathhouses and stuff that do have the power vents and stuff, you're looking at camper comfort and saying, yeah, I'd go back to that campground again because the facilities were nice, the people were nice, the people were nice. The people were nice, Ruth. No.
What on the two-way bed? What on the two-way bed is?
But
He's not gonna
But I
let me
mean-
forget. I told him he forgot to pay. 2 days later, I had to call him and tell him he had to come down and pay his bill.
yeah,
He's reminding me of that.
But now we have
No,
this
but-
system in the other ones, and Lon said the motors crapped out and they just quit using them anymore.
John, let me tell you, I've been there 15 years. I asked for those to be replaced and repaired from day one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Everybody was just, and I don't care if this is recorded, they were too damn lazy to fix them. Because they were hard to work on up in the ceiling. There was new fans on the shelf in the garage. They never got repaired.
I'm just saying that when you were in Scott's
We need
office
vents.
and Lon said, well, God, we don't even use any other one.
well, you know, you look at it. How long did they last in the other one?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, Oh.
and this is a different unit, and
And
this
this
is a
is-
different type of unit.
Right.
You know, the other ones are they ceiling mounted, more traditional bathroom vents.
sure,
You know, and this is not. It's a large roof mounted
heavy
unit.
duty thing.
Yeah.
But I think you know it's well worth the money to have a nice facility as a camper. That every year you're want to go back because of the facilities, and again look at the campground as a whole. You know, it's a big asset to the city. We don't want it. I don't think we want to do it half-ass because it's a big asset and we want to make it welcoming.
Well, for $6,000 to $8,000, does that have a variable speed or what? I mean, on cool days, you don't want it running near
It
fixed.
runs off a humidistat.
You missed it.
Yeah.
The
It's like a
other thing
hoghouse.
here is, this
like a
is all
hoghouse.
going to be closed. There
That's how
are
they
not
run.
going to be doors standing open, like there are, you know, on some of the other bathrooms. Even with doors standing open, you can't get enough ventilation through them. So, and these doors are gonna be closed all the time.
Humidistat, I don't know if that, is there, can you use thermostat too?
They come in and.
I'm not sure for this. I don't know.
My fan on the house, I had a vent fan, and I'd hear that thing run, and the only time I heard it run is when it was raining, is a humidistat.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I thought, well, that's stupid. Why dry the moisture in, draw the moisture in when it's raining? So I changed it to the heat, and then when it gets real hot, it draws that dry air in.
Ruth, I'm a believer. If you want it, I think we ought to have it. I just, the talk we had the other day, Lon said, we don't even use many other ones. But
Now, I'm bending your way on the statue. Come on, John.
I'm your way.
Okay.
Is this,
That's called crossing party lines.
not reaching across the table to your, I
You know,
still
you
like to see
guys,
him keep bucking heads for a while. I mean, just make
It is entertaining.
it is, that is.
Well, usually John and I kind of think too much of this. I don't know if that's what you
Like
did
here it
either.
says, oh, excuse me, it
No, that's
says
fine.
smaller water heaters, how do you get about that? How many you got or what?
We'll end up with 2.
Oh,
The idea is that we need to keep them
50
below,
gallon.
yeah, below
50
55 gallons. Like that. If you keep them small enough, you're not subject to any of the boiler inspections.
oh, okay.
Okay, so, and you'll see that on the new plan, there's 2 water heaters proposed in there. And
And
you
how
do
big
that,
do you
it
have 'em
just
here? I
avoids,
can't
So
read
what,
it.
do you run
50
softeners too then?
no softeners.
Now, the showers, are they gonna be, you turn them on and what comes out, comes out?
Yep.
So if you
Um,
set it at,
This is proposed that we would have mixing valve, that there'd be a mixing valve off of the water heaters. So, yeah, the water that comes into the showers is what it is.
it is what it is. That's the
Okay,
best way
it's
to do
mixed.
it.
102 degrees.
Well, I think you have to have it that way
Yeah.
in a campground.
Now-
Otherwise, you get burned.
Is it push button or?
Okay, it will somehow be single handle and auto shut off. And how that was gonna be, it just didn't know for sure yet. Whether it is push button or whether it was, can be like we have now, you hold the chain down. And, it's spring action and you,
Is that hooked to a bucket or what?
There's that convenience. I think that fan ain't gonna make up for that one. Put the chain back
Used
in.
to, out the farm when the girls, they go in the damn shower, and you sit there all day, and so I turned the hot water out on the kitchen, and then it comes cold. You're out of hot water.
One of the things about,
I always did that, because if I heard it running too long, I could take a shower in about 3 minutes, and I mean, I give them 5, because,
because you're in a good mood, right?
but just go turn the hot water on and get it instant cold.
Scott, what did you say? Either is the push button stuff, is that,
push button, I think that's kind of the way that he
pretty
was
expensive.
That only runs so
looking
far
at it.
though?
But
I mean, it only runs
push
so
it
long.
and it goes for 10 seconds or whatever, it doesn't go
Oh,
very
I
long.
see. Oh,
well, that's kind of inconvenient, isn't it?
Well, and maybe I just misspoke on the time, but it doesn't go very long. They are
should
auto
give
shut
them
off.
at least 1 minute.
but the chain,
yeah,
they're
can't
always
you just
tying
have
them
it-
with something, they tie them with something.
Can't you just
Boom,
turn
boom.
it on and turn it off?
Keep it down.
Can't you just turn it on and turn it off when you're done?
Oh, yeah,
Shower?
then they
People
won't
don't
shut
do
it
that.
off.
Well, usually you get someone else comes in there and shut it off.
Yeah.
I heard that those other deals are so expensive. Those,
Did they give you a
Automatics.
price on it?
No,
At
I
all?
haven't seen it.
just an on-off deal would be a lot better, cheaper, because the zones take a lot of repair.
Okay.
That's what Steve Snyder was, I was talking to him about the shelter house a little bit. He said,
Put your dollar in the slot, you get 5 minutes.
there you go.
There you go, quarter deal.
There
We
you
could
go.
put a coin machine down there.
I bet that'd make money.
There's some places that do have those. huh?
Yeah,
We was in
there is.
Mexico a few years ago, and it wasn't so bad, but the ladies, when they go into the restrooms, they have to, one little square like that, a quarter. No kidding. Tissue paper. No kidding. Once, that little,
Then you put it in the wastebasket, don't you, not in the store?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
There's some.
That could be, they'd probably dry it out and use it.
can't put
over.
paper in there.
Stop it.
Just stop it.
So is it, why porcelain instead of stainless steel?
Um, the main thing, you just didn't like the notion of what porcelain would look like. And
Stainless steel.
you
Or
don't,
what-
excuse me,
yeah.
what stainless steel looked like. You don't want to feel like you're in an institution.
Or Yeah.
In jail?
Porcelain,
Things better.
yeah, in jail,
Stainless
that's what
steel
I'm
sinks are
saying.
Yeah.
fine, we've got them, no, we
Yeah.
don't have any in the other bathrooms.
We are proposing stainless steel sinks,
Yeah,
okay? But the
They're not-
rest of it would be
They're not
porcelain,
easy.
toilets
Yeah.
and urinals.
they're not easy, but if you, I mean, when you clean them every day and
Yeah.
you wipe them out, wipe them down 2 or 3 times a day when we're busy, they stay fine.
Just some notes here that underground piping, we would propose to be PVC. This all has it spec'd out, of course, as cast.
Cast?
That's how it's spec'd right now. I think we'll get that changed to PVC.
Yeah.
Next page is the last page, I guess. Just a couple comments there. Again, lighting, photocell, and occupancy sensors. The little circle to the right, hand dryers. That this would have hand dryers in it, not paper towels. And surface mount aluminum conduit, and there's not too much of it. Hand dryer actually might be about the main part, and then light switches. Other than that, there's not too much wiring that's exposed outside the wall.
Certain type of hand dryer,
Yeah.
power drive, or
The one that sounds like a jet.
We have asked them for high volume,
okay.
for the high volume ones. And they've given me some literature
Accelerator or whatever.
on some.
They can be used as a hair dryer too.
Yeah, like the ones up at school do get used as a hair dryer.
Now those,
And you look down the shelf.
the ones that are, you know,
They do that all the time. Turn on when
you wave your hands under them and they turn on.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that you can use those as a hair dryer, you know, they can't turn them upwards.
No.
No.
You gotta stoop over.
You gotta
yeah.
stoop clear
You got
underneath.
it. And that happens, depends on how high you put the
Oh, there are
of hand
some,
dryer.
I think those in Speaker Park have got the,
But
Left.
Some
Yeah.
of them do.
I think you wanna make sure
I
that
knew it years ago.
you don't get the ones that blow out, you know, just a little bit of hot air.
Right, yeah.
You wanna get the ones that blow out a lot of hot air. Similar-
Yes, that's,
Similar to the mayor.
Yes.
Who? Who you compared him
so
to?
do you have to check in on the shower thing?
yeah, I wanna check on the shower. There's a couple things yet in there that we just need to.
Just put on your notes there
Need
that
you
we
to
want
find-
the vent.
Yep, and that was one of the main things, was whether we do the power vent, and we would.
Yeah, we're going to.
Do I hear a motion?
Yeah.
You gonna use Schedule 80 on that stuff underneath that cement?
I don't know.
16, or, did you say how thick was that, 16?
16 inches. I don't know, guys.
Does it have to be 16 inches deep in cement? I gotta change oil in the semi in there.
Again, there's no frost footings, it's just a
Right.
floating.
If it's heavy enough, the frost can't push it up.
I don't know.
I know.
I guess
That's
you're right.
that's why we're paying the engineer the
I
big
guess.
bucks.
Okay.
Just a couple more comments on that. I think what we would look at would be letting bids on this. Probably Wednesday, January 14th is what we want to aim at. And then it'd come to the council that following Monday. And this would propose to have a project completion date of July 1st. July 1st of 2015. They'd be able to start it just as soon as the weather would allow in the spring, but we'd want them to be done by July 1st. Ruth's not too happy about that.
May 1st.
How come we have to go up to July? Why?
Just practicalities about construction. I really wanted to put in June 15th, and Lon would do everything that he could to talk me out of June 15th. It's just not being a practical timeline for actually getting it done.
It's too bad we didn't get the building out there. They could put the cement down this fall.
Well,
You gotta take this.
again, it has to do,
Right with the
we had
setback.
made this decision partly because of financing and being able to get grants, so,
Which we didn't get.
But
which we
could
didn't
one.
get,
Right.
other than one.
Yeah.
We should be getting one.
So when is the old building torn down?
It can happen anytime. Now, and Wirtzus is on the hook to do it. And he'll just give us a couple days' notice when he comes into town to do it. It'll happen yet this fall.
It won't take him very long.
We need
Take them a
full-
half a day.
Sure.
So what do you do in the meantime then, in between, before, between old
Spot
and new?
pots.
They have to live with the old.
There's
ones.
2 other bathhouses down there.
Oh, okay.
For the beachgoers, it's not very convenient at all.
The lake just got cleaned up, you know.
Yeah.
Jeez. Thanks, Rick.
Is that by the shelter house?
You're kinda feisty tonight, aren't you?
What by the shelter
Is
house?
that one still working at the shelter
yeah.
house?
Sure.
Now, is that heated?
No. In the summer, yeah.
The other
Need
The other
to
thing
adjust
that would be nice there, and I don't know that this is gonna happen yet this next year or not, but it's supposed to. We put in the, that fancy, section of fence down there and this launch for where a new dock is gonna go. And the DNR is putting that dock in there then, and it is just a loading and unloading dock. And one of the primary reasons is for boat users to be able to quickly get off and go use the restroom.
I'll be down.
That will come in handy because a lot of times when the dock where they back in, you know, you can have somebody, the time they walk over to the, you can tie up 10, 12 minutes real easy. I know. They'll be right back.
Okay.
Any questions on the bathhouse?
Move on,
Nice.
move forward.
Public Works, no lawn, he's
Yeah,
farming.
Lon's farming yet.
I guess I got a question for it. We talked about the water tower. Has anybody looked at the water tower lately? Take a look at it, it's really starting to show up. The mold, the outside. No. My concern is that we're gonna be working on a survey project, we've got the water tower project. We've got to find out a way how we can promote this and tie it, make this aware of what's going on up there. Because we had talked about, in our, last year already, talked about doing some water tower maintenance. And
Right.
because we've got some rust spots going on, we've got some issue with the mold and stuff like that. So I mean, I guess what I'm saying is if we're going to have these projects going on, we need to let people know what's going on about, you know, we're at the point in time where our infrastructure needs a lot of work. As we know with the sewer, as you know with the water tower, you know, we've done a nice job with our streets, so we need to be thinking about budget time, how we move this project on. You know, do we tie it in all as one big project, or are we piecemealing it out? I mean, that's something to think about, because that thing's not gonna go away and it's not gonna get any better, so. Take a look at it when you drive around sometime, I just started noticing all the black.
Well, Lon kinda warned us about that.
Yeah, and that's why
And nothing's been said.
and that's
since then.
that's my concern, is
Yeah,
that, well,
I
once,
kinda forgot about it too, being nothing was brought up.
well, I'm just worried that all at once we're gonna say, well, we gotta get this fixed, and we're not really planning for it, so if
Yeah,
we're gonna.
we had talked about that last budget time,
Right,
and have the cost on that were a lot more than what we could afford right now. We continue to save a little bit of money, not enough, to get that project done. But we know that's gonna have to take a look at it, whether we put it in year 2 or 3 of the capital improvements plan. But over that time, we would save up some funds to be able to do this.
okay, well, I'm just saying,
And I guess the other thing is, even just today, I was talking with another provider trying to get a competitive cost to know whether this first guy was shooting
Well-
accurate or not.
well, that's what I'm saying, this is something that's not gonna happen tomorrow, but it's gonna have to happen. And we just gotta figure out how we wanna tie it in with the other project, or do we wanna piecemeal it out, or do we wanna do it separate, you know what I'm saying? But that's some more things that we need to talk about at budget time. There's more things about, you know, how we're gonna pay for it, how we're gonna, because like you said, we're not gonna save enough money to get that. It's gonna become a major expense. So that's what I'm saying, we take a look at the sewer and, you know, that $3 million, and hopefully we don't have to come up with that we can do it for a lot less, but knowing this is in the background, we need to really pursue it, I think.
Doesn't sound like though that's gonna, a lot less ain't gonna happen on that sewer, is it?
Well, we'll have to find out.
I think we gotta get Lon in here and talk with him.
Yeah.
He's got some ways we can save.
There's some options.
Yeah,
Options to really look at to save some substantial amounts.
I mean, I hope so, yeah.
yeah, so I mean, there again, it's how we,
Otherwise you might see a lot of outhouses around town.
Hope not.
Spotted box.
So there is no public works report?
No, nothing.
Okay, how about city administrator report?
Just a couple things.
Wall Lake?
As Whitey's talking about public projects, we are going to have another project that's thrust upon us, and it's not something that we necessarily want to do. As 196 is redone, they are also going to do that intersection of 196, and it gets changed into a T intersection there.
Yeah.
Involves completely redoing that corner. And Bill was saying that they're actually dropping the grade on that 10 feet.
Mhm.
And anyway, basically, we have electric lines that go through there, and the DOT is going to be working on that. They will let bids on that project in January with construction to start in the spring. We need to have our power out of there when they start work. And basically, they would like us to reroute power during construction, be able to get some private easements, some temporary private easements to reroute power across there. Then with the notion that we would put this back after they've finished the grading work. And Bill is really looking at an underground situation there, because the right-of-way is changing there and it gets way too close to grain bins, and we're not able to have overhead lines by grain bins. So that's one big thing to be concerned. Bill, just know that Bill's really exploring options on this. And another project, I guess, that we have to do, and you'll be hearing more about that, but it'll be another pretty big project. And yeah, next Thursday, November 13th, is Sac County League. It's over at Wall Lake at the community center. They're awarding the grants for Sac County Endowment that night. So the more people can be there to get your picture taken, that's the better.
what is that?
Okay, Thursday the 13th. But I need to RSVP on Monday, so anybody know whether you're able to go, Terry?
I think so.
Joy?
Sure.
Gus?
I think he's gonna be south.
No, no.
Beautiful weather out.
Preston would be the further south I gotta go.
Ah.
Linda?
Yeah, well, yeah. Should be around.
Okay. Dave?
Just a second. No.
Mayor's a yes.
Mhm.
I'll try that.
Okay.
Thursdays work better than Wednesdays for me.
Class.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
I agree with that.
And just in general, keep your schedule open for, God, whatever the date is in December, second Wednesday, I think, in December. We host SAC Christmas party.
Second Wednesday.
Yep,
Second Wednesday or the second on Wednesday?
second Wednesday.
That's out.
Did you just hear me?
I'm not sure, but
Thursdays work better.
yeah, we'll get that.
They never listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I told everybody it'd be Wednesday, but
Wednesday the
No,
10th?
that's fine.
maybe we can still change it.
No, I'm just kidding.
Do things Thursday.
He just got nothing. Thursday's work better.
What is that? That's
Sac County League, but we host the Christmas party. And, you know, we've done this auction where each community brings an item and then it's auctioned off and the funds go back to Sac County League. And I would guess we would probably do that again. But is there any other type of entertainment, you know, that you think of you might want to bring in to show the folks? Not that, Gus, can't be that kind of entertainment. Get some dancing girls.
A snake.
I know where we can get a steak, but that's,
I do too, I hear it's still in town.
Really?
You know, years ago, the, I don't know, I went with Dave Jennett, and I'm not sure if it was the sheriff's office, county attorney, maybe the police department, but they played the Newlyweds. So it was couples, and it was the question, you know, so I just remember the question was, you know, which way does your spouse roll the toilet paper? You know, is it, you know, forward or under, you know? So, but that was
Okay.
fun. It was funny, and it was fun.
That's what I'm thinking.
tell us what you're thinking. I can read it. I can read it, but if you're gonna say it, that's.
I'm not saying.
Okay.
Anybody have anything else?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second,
Second.
meeting adjourned.
No. You didn't get your turn in the